to be with you and to hold.
The fact that Jim Reeves recorded a song called Maureen is a happy coincidence for Maureen Marsh, because Jim Reeves had no idea that she existed.
In all my dreams, I dream of you, Maureen.
The 28-year-old mother and housewife who lives on a Southampton council estate devotes her life to the memory of the man she calls Gentleman Jim. All day and most of the night, she either plays his records or writes poetry about him in the bedroom.
Writing lines won't bring you back, but it helps to ease my mind of the tragedy 4 years ago when you left us far behind. I'm hoping that you're in heaven, that the angels sing for you, just as you did for us, my dear, songs so warm and true. A wonderful man as lovely as you won't be forgotten at all, and slowly I look up and see your picture on my wall. I see a face of kindness, beholding charm in your sweet smile. For every step I've taken to you, I've surely cried a mile. Goodbye, my only love, the memory is so sweet. Some day, somewhere, my love, I know that we will meet. I seem to get the inspiration for it more up here, sat here like this on my own, where it's quiet. You know, my husband does reading or something, the books, pages flick or something, it puts me off. I like to be absolutely quiet and on my own, except for the pictures.
You seem to regard anything that isn't connected with Jim Reeves as a bit of a bore.
Yes. Well, I do feel like that, yes.
Television, any other records?
Newspapers.
Do you read newspapers?
No. Not unless they've got Jim in, then I do.
Books?
Well, there again, only if they've got anything of Jim in, then I would, but not otherwise.
You never get fed up with that?
No, I don't. No, I never will.
Do you never get sick of hearing his voice?
No, I'll play it all day, all night. I never get tired of it.
Never?
No, I wouldn't.
love that runs away from me.
Jim Marsh might well be many women's idea of the perfect husband. He looks after their son, does the housework, and cooks the meals. But when she met Jim, none of these things really mattered to Maureen, didn't influence her at all. She married him for only one thing, his name.
If I were going to get married, it'd have to be to a Jim.
Why is that?
I can't imagine being married to someone with a name, well, different to that.
Jim, did...
It was after the accident, anyway.
Sorry?
It was after the accident I got married. I wouldn't have done otherwise.
After which accident?
After Jim, you know.
After Jim Reeves was killed? You wouldn't have married unless he'd been killed?
Well, it would be like making do with second best.
But he was married?
Oh, yes, I know it don't make any difference.
Were you aware of all this at the time, Jim?
Not immediately, but it became apparent very soon afterwards. When we first met, I didn't know. It didn't take me long to find out. You can't get away from Jim if you're with Maureen.
But I mean, what's it like for you, the fact that if your name had been anything other than Jim, she wouldn't have married you?
Well, I mean, I suspected that from the start, but if it had been any other name, then I wouldn't have been involved in the first place. She wouldn't have even looked in my direction. I think the only thing that made her look in the first place was that I was introduced as Jim. What was it? It was somebody else one night and said, "That's Pete's mate Jim," and it was only the Jim that made her turn her head in the first place.
But I mean, if you marry, or if you've married Jim, I mean, if his name was John or Jack, and you fell for him, you would surely still have married him.
But I wouldn't have fallen for him, would I? Not really, because I only loved him.
Jim Reeves. But do you love Jim Marsh?
Well, no, we just get on well together, you know.
So why did you marry him?
Well, just that we get on well together, that's all. There's nothing else in it, you know.
Is that enough to get married, do you think?
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people who are married for love and they're already divorced.
From a man who's got a wife who's in love with somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was somebody who lived down the road, you could go and have a punch-up with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if Jim had been here, then the marriage wouldn't have existed. It just wouldn't have got... She wouldn't have even looked at anybody else. She would never have given up the chance of being with the actual man himself. Since the accident did happen. Then she married me, as we said, because my name is Jim. But she needs somebody who can understand it, understand this position, better than anybody else, someone that she can lean on. That's me. And when she's away, she goes away each year over to Texas to see Jim. And that's when I stop living until she gets back. That's how much she means to me.
You go to Texas?
Yes, every year, in October.
What's in Texas?
The Jim Reeves Memorial Park, and I go to take the roses there every year.
You go all that way to take roses?
Mm.
And how long do you spend there?
I spend 2 weeks there, and I visit down there as often as I can. And, well, I like to live there forever, so I could take roses down there every day, really. But I do it once a year anyway, at the moment.
Is that likely to happen?
Yes,
that you'll live there?
I think so, yes. I've been trying to, you know, get some contacts and try to get, well, something lined up.
Would you be prepared to do that, Jim?
Yes, I would.
It's bad enough now. If you're going to live in Texas, how much of her are you going to see?
Well, no.
Not very much.
Well, you're
That won't be that bad.
wrapped up in Jim here, aren't you?
I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah. I knew you'd be down there every day. Or if we lived so many miles out, we'd have to drive in every day, or at least every week. I'd have to be prepared for that before I went.
Would you go to visit the memorial every day?
Oh, yes.
Most
I
people
can't
wouldn't
think
understand
of
that at all, would they?
Well, I don't know. See, I can't cut myself off from it. To me, it's so usual. It seems a natural thing to do. To go there each day and take some flowers. And that's why I want to go there, to live. I can't really think of any better way of spending my life anyway.
I believe her love is so great that it reaches him.
Do you think he's exceptional, Maureen?
Yes, I do really. You must be to put up with me.
15 years on and Maureen is still in the same flat, still besotted with Jim Reeves. But Jim Marsh no longer shares her life. They divorced in 1977. He now lives alone.
She was literally going out of her mind, because as far as she was concerned, Jim Reeves, the real man, was with her. And therefore, a mortal man such as me was in the way. And we went through a very traumatic time indeed. The only answer was divorce. And I did divorce him, but I named Jim Reeves in court.
How can you name a dead man?
As far as I was concerned, there's no one else involved. She is in love with Jim Reeves. Whether he's deceased or not, that's the man she's in love with. Why didn't I walk away before we were even married? Why did I sit there and watch her surround herself with pictures of Jim? Why did I listen to his music into the early hours of the morning? Why didn't I say, if this is what you want, fine, I'm out the door? I've no idea. I never did. I can't answer it. I've asked myself 1,000 times. I don't know.
Jim Marsh is now writing a book about this extraordinary love story. Shades of Casablanca, perhaps. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walked into mine.
What I find incredible is that I was there at that time when she first came into the bar. And I was there, and I had that name, because that's the only thing that involved me. The name, the Christian name of Jim. And I often think, yes, why me? Why wasn't I 1,000 miles away at that time? But that's only when the pressure is really on.
Do you feel guilty about what's happened to Jim Marsh.
I suppose I'd only feel guilty, really guilty, if I'd have hidden it or been deceitful. He always knew it was Jim right from the start when I first heard that record on the radio when I was about 18. There's never been any other man since. Never will be.
The door to happiness you opened wide.